Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, September the 24th, 2025, noontime cryptocurrency, gold and silver bullion update. And you can see the Bitcoin price here today, if we get right on into this, is actually traded up today. And it seems recently it's been trading when the US dollar today is up just under 0.75%. Bitcoin seems to rise, and on days where the dollar goes down for some reason, Bitcoin recently seems to go down. But you can see this as yesterday we were talking about this. The last couple of days we were running along the 100-day moving average, and we were running the question, could you bounce back up? Which you should, briefly at least, run back into this 113,000 and change. And then if you can't get on top of the overhead 50 in the daily, then you would get a hook nose reversal pattern, and that would be what could potentially and what would more than likely drive you down in the short term to 105,000 and change. And that's something that we're going to watch out for because you're significantly below still right now the pattern support. You can see we are about at current price 3.5% or $4,100 below the pattern support, the 3.5 year rising channel support structural pattern of the overall market. And you can see now we're coming up on a retest of the 50 as resistance after it just hit the 100 as brief support like you would expect it to. And now if we can't get back on top of the 50, this could be an area around the week out where you get rejected by the overhead 50 and it actually works your way down towards the $105,000 in the short term. So that's what we're going to watch today and tomorrow. Do you break back above the 50, or do you get rejected and you end up back down here towards that 105,000 and change, the 200-day moving average in the daily time frame? If we look at DGB, you can see DGB also, along with algo, had AMP, a very harsh rejection. And we have this target down here where if we don't get some buyers and this bearish sentiment continues, unfortunately, with these overhead moving averages in the daily time frame, the same as AMP, they've been forcing and driving and beating the price down ever so effectively. Every time it tries to get up, it just knocks it right back down. You can see we're below all four major areas of resistance, and if we don't get support like we've done here several times in a row, this could be where we're coming down to next, the 0.00561. Whoops. And that is something that we're going to be paying attention to over the coming weeks to see what exactly happens here. In order to get short-term bullish, we do have to get above that. But you do know long-term, 2026 in the late 2026 and culminating at the beginning of 27, I believe there's a massive pump potential where we have targets right up there, and I believe they will be hit sometime towards the end of next year, and very early on. If it doesn't hit it by the end of next year, very early in 2027. That's why I'm calling AMP and DGB 2026 the year of those two. But right now we're at major underneath support. We're threatening again to break down, and one of these times it's going to break down. And if it breaks down, it's coming straight down to there, to 0.0238 and change. And that's an area that we're going to continue to watch out for to see if that actually does happen. But right now we're on the critical about 2 year pattern support at 0.00312 in purple there. And that's very critical that you do not fall below that, because if you do, unfortunately, you have the big fall that's going to come below that. And that's something that we're going to pay attention to because once again, you're threatening to do it. And if you do it, it's going to be a very, very quick on a very, very swift fall. But I do believe people that hold that long enough, maybe another 12 months, maybe another 24 months, I believe you will make 5 to 10x on that. And I am not making any bones about it, nor am I shying away from that prediction, right? If we look at, there was something interesting here with the US dollar. Fed Powell offers no new clues. Let's see. Global equity gauge stayed close to flat on Wednesday, while the dollar rose and gold price dipped as investors digest cautious comments from Federal Reserve Jerome Powell, which, according to insider Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing, that's gold crypto investing. Those words are just words, and it's meant to silently manipulate the market. That he's going to act cautiously and actually let the data uh, uh, move for let the data guide his next move. He's lying. He's just trying to stabilize the markets. Whether inflation continues to be high like it is and accelerates like it will be, he will still lower rates, according to insider Vincenzo. Uh, Power about the central banks might next cut U.S. interest rates. In his first remarks since Fed meeting ended with a rate cut last week, Powell on Tuesday underlined the need for policymakers to balance the risk of high inflation, weaker jobs, in the next monetary policy decision. However, traders were still pricing in a rate cut in October, according to CME Group Fed Watch tool. And I believe he will lower rates next month, but this will be the inter-month sell-off leading into about a week to 10 days from now. More bullish talk from the Fed about rate cuts, and then the markets will start pumping back up. This is a manipulated little correction to give the insiders another buying opportunity. The General Assembly, in which rejected moves by allies to recognize a Palestine state, Trump chastised Western nations for their approach to climate change and immigration, telling leaders, "Your countries are going to hell," end quote. Strong words from the sitting president. Your countries are going to hell. After boasting record highs on Monday, Wall Street stocks were barely changed, while safe haven gold prices edged down from their Tuesday record highs. Gold is still digesting some of the commentary coming out of the Federal Reserve yesterday, and also geopolitical tensions with Russia. Spot gold hit 3750. Futures were over 3800. Meanwhile, Wednesday data showed that U.S. single-family homes surging in August by 20.5% seasonally adjusted annual rate of 800,000 units. Economics polled by Reuters had forecasted a drop of 650,000 units. July sales were revised up to 664,000 from the 652,000. On Wednesday, the Dow Jones was up, the Nasdaq was up, the S&P was up, and they're all at record highs. The two-year note is historically cheap, and nobody is going to buy a two-year note. I mean, some people will, to your short-term note, it's 3.5%. The 10-year and the 30-year at 4.11 and 4.74. And no one's putting their money in that at 4% a year for 20 years and 30 years. So the manipulation is going to continue there by the federal government buying those. And once they start buying those, that's when the next leg of this bull market's going to happen in crypto, when they start increasing the money supply. And they increase the money supply when they physically start buying bonds and treasuries, which isn't going to happen until at the very earliest the springtime of 2026, right? So we got several more months, and that's why I feel like there could be some kind of correction for the Bitcoin price and the cryptos as a whole until they start printing that money again. But you can see the XRP has bounced up. It is squeezed just in between, just underneath the 295.50, just above it, bounced off of the 284 100-day moving average. If you can break the 50-day moving average, you'll make a run back at the 307, which is your critical short-term overhead resistance. You have to break above that in order to try to take out some of these lower highs and then the regional high there at 366. But that can't happen until you confirm above the 50, break above the 307, and stay on top of that and not just get rejected like this, where you come up, rejected, come up, rejected, come up, rejected. You got to come up and hold, right? Or else you're going to continue this downward momentum. And this downward momentum, if you continue to get rejected by that 307 and or the 50-day moving average, you will eventually end up down here at a rising 200-day and that left to right resistance level and support level at $2.55. Like the channel, subscribe. Peace and love. The Rock's eyebrow to you future asset millionaires.